Because he thinks that he is royalty. America! Fuck yeah! King free since 1776, so you can suck a collective dick. And time will move on, and truth frequents its stage. No crown can outlast the people's rightful right. And time will move on, and truth reclaims its stage. No crown can outlast the people's rightful rage. Baldo people! In the heartland, hard and gray, a tree of iron fed by fear and greed. Its roots split courthouses and cracked the day. Its branches smothered thought and deed. The ring smiled, people kneeled, truth was outlawed, mercy a plea. But one light burned, the world tried to conceal. So light your lamp and dead beneath the tree. Oh, light your lamp, let it shine bright. Oh, light your lamp, let it shine bright. Oh, God, let it shine bright. Lady was tired of silence and decay, of vanishing friends, of things unsaid. So she lit one lamp, the one to obey, and raised her flame where others fled. They called her traitor, they mocked her dead. But windows glowed across the sea, and fear began to bow its head. Now light your lamp and dig beneath the tree. Quiet and slow, not guns, but truth, not blood, but names. The lies were dragged to the light to show the route that powered the regent's gains. People stood tall, they broke their chains. Justice rose from memory. Ash fell soft where pride once reigned. So light your lamp and dig beneath the tree. Dig beneath the tree.
our guest is running a tiny bit late, so it's just me right now. Drill Sergeant Doug is
Here in the wind.
he's here. You can see him. You can hear him. You just can't see him. It's kind of like when you have Jesus in your heart.
Yes, yes. Hear the still
Actually,
small,
I'm gonna get it in the
voice.
comments section for comparing Doug to Jesus. People are gonna be like,
Hey, my wife did it
making,
last night. Oh,
"Oh, nice. Okay, that was
the
all right.
still
Okay,
small voice.
yeah. I think I may have given Marialana the impression that the stream started at 7:10. So
Oh, well, there you have it.
yeah,
It was it was your fault. Um,
yeah. It's been a bitch of a week.
yeah, trust me, man.
And today I'm still not firing on all cylinders. So
Yeah, me neither. Me neither, man. But I'm here. Hopefully, if I can figure out why I am echoing on my side. Do you guys hear me all right? Do I sound weird?
yeah, I hear you just fine. I don't hear an echo. If you hear an echo, it's probably because you have something that's playing the stream somewhere. I don't know.
No, you know what I have? I have Pro Tools up. Um, and so like my mic is picking me up from way over there, the other
Yeah,
mic.
I had Adobe Premiere open earlier. I was working on taking apart this old internet cartoon.
What?
Yeah. I gave a little teaser of it. Um, I don't want to give too much away, but
All right, all right.
you know,
I'll, I'll let you
six foot 20 weighs a
your
fucking
secret.
ton.
It should be super fun. I'll let you have those secrets, my friend.
Fuck the shit out of bears.
What?
Yeah.
Where? Here I go. Boom. Something.
Boom.
Look at that. Look at them apples. I made it. So, um, ooh,
There's our guest, just
there's
waiting
our
on
guest.
the
Good.
devices to connect. Boom. There we go. How about
Howdy.
that?
Hello.
How are y'all doing?
Good. How about you? So,
Oh,
chat, viewers, etc. Please welcome our guest, Marialana Kinter. Did I get the name right this time?
Marialana Kinter, but it's a tough one, but Marialana.
Marialana. Okay.
Maria Lena. Got it. I'm only gonna mess it up 3 times, guaranteed.
I think that's how I'd been saying it earlier, except maybe I was saying Lana instead of Lena. But now
I get all sorts of stuff. My family actually calls me Lainey, and when I tell people that that's what they call me, it makes more sense that it would be Marialana. So by all means, after I get the initial Marialana out of the way, feel free to call me Lainey. That works perfectly. And Kinter, after, as you guys know, years of being in the military, you get used to your last name, and
Yep.
it's much more simple.
Kinter. All right.
Kinter.
I was in units where we used the first name a lot. So
Really? That's awesome.
yeah. Hey, Doug.
Yeah.
Hey, Laney.
Oh, yeah. See, yeah.
Hey, Tim. You want to come over here and check out the Humvee?
Check out the Humvee guys. We were kind of mixed. We got talked to a lot about it in professional settings, so we always stuck with the last name. But in real life, right? Of course, we would go by the first name.
Oh yeah, yeah. We had this one captain one time for the Navy. That's like a lieutenant. He's a company commander, and he heard us doing that shit one day, and he like knife handed us. He's
They
like,
always do.
I better hear you guys referring to each other by your rank and your last name from here on out. This is not special forces.
Yeah.
So a week later, I caught this motherfucker referring to our platoon leader, who was a brand new second lieutenant. I mean, straight out of officer, whatever, training. Guy couldn't even buy his own booze, I think. called him by his first name, Joe, and I was like, "Sir, you mean Lieutenant Kushner, right?" And he just
Yeah.
kind of looked at me, and I was like, "Because we refer to people by their rank and their last name around here, right, sir?" And he just kind
We're
of looked at me, he's like,
professionals, right, sir?
"Yes, Sergeant Everett, you're right." He stormed off. Never heard about it again, ever.
Hey,
Yeah.
you love to see it. The best type of compliance sometimes in the military is malicious compliance. So 100%.
Absolutely. And he was actually one of the best commanders I ever had. I think he just one day had a burr up his ass. I don't know, because he was pretty cool.
Well, you know how it goes. When there's not a whole lot to do, people in charge feel like they have to make something happen, and so they or when they're upset about something that they can't tell you about. One of those two things is what usually will get you a knife hand for no reason. So.
I did a ton of knife hands today in the span of like 15 minutes.
So all my siblings joined except for one of my sisters, and now we all live in Florida together. And I have 3 nephews who will all knife hand each other just because they see it done so much. And they're like 3, 5, and 8, and they'll be like, "That's my toy." And it's like, all right, calm down. It's not that serious.
Yeah.
My son does this now, and my wife hates it. He's like, "This is what's going on." Like,
Yeah,
I taught both. With that thing.
I taught both my boys the knife hand because one of them would point at something and I would grab his finger and bend it. I'd be like, "Now, if you were using a knife hand, you wouldn't be able to do
happen.
that." So,
all right,
you are a U.S. Navy vet, and actually, you tell it. You know better than I do.
Absolutely. So I'm Marialana Kinter. I am a Navy veteran. I was a nuclear reactor supervisor in the Navy. I spent 8.5 years and then was medically retired. And now I'm running for Congress in Florida's 7th District. I'm challenging the incumbent Congressman Corey Mills. And before anyone asks, yes, it is that Corey Mills with all of the alleged scandals who's in the news all the time. But I'm running for Congress out here, and my goal is to deliver tangible results during the campaign, food drives, clothing drives, mutual aid, and prove that real action is the only way we're going to have anything change in politics. Purity politics isn't going to change anything. We need tangible results.
Now, what like towns or boroughs or cities are encompassed in Florida 7?
So it includes all of Seminole County and the southern half of Volusia. It basically cuts the southern half of Volusia straight down. And so it includes Daytona, Sanford, Oviedo, Orange City, but just the southern half of Volusia, New Smyrna, Ormond. If you don't live in Florida, these towns mean nothing.
I'm familiar with the area because I used to be a criminal background investigator, and I managed a large chunk of the Southeast, and Volusia was one of my problem districts where not because of crime or anything, but because like we used a lot of courthouse systems, and when their online terminals were garbage, which they often were in Florida, we had to go down there. So it was like, oh no, I have to take a 7-day trip to Florida. How terrible for me. Better pack my sunscreen.
Oh.
So technically it cuts off right at Port Orange and then like curves up a little bit near South Daytona, but it's essentially on the Daytona border. I always just throw that town in there because everyone knows where it is. It's like Orlando. Everyone knows where Orlando is. It's north of Orlando, and then it's technically just south, like the southern edge of Daytona is the border.
Listen, I'm not going to get into my jokes about Florida because I'm going to hope, I hope that people like you are going to change its perception. But I just the groan that you may have heard a second ago was me looking up what are these scandals because I wasn't sure about it.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, he's a Republican, so what is it? Kids, 2 wives, I mean, what, stealing from church? I mean, it could be so many things. Fucking the housemaid. I don't know. It could just be so many things, and there's just so many of them. So I forgot. But I may have heard a bit about this one, the stolen valor. and it's the first thing that came up among his many things. And I was just, so if you heard a groan, that's what it was for. It wasn't because of Daytona or anything that you guys were just talking about. I'll refrain from talking bad about Florida. How does being an actual veteran with actual honor help you in this race against this scumbag? Have you used that yet?
The term skunk bag or the actual honor portion?
Scumbag and honor, both of them should be used at all times.
So no, I actually don't really use any terms to describe him. I'd rather prove in my campaign what I can offer, because the district has had a lack of action, a lack of representation, a clear lack of integrity going on the past year and a half, 2 years since he took office originally in his first term. And so my whole goal throughout my campaign is to prove what we can have and what we can do. And there won't be a guess on if I get into office, if I'm going to deliver results, because I'm doing it right now. And the military definitely prepared me for that. And that's the military mindset, I would say, is what determined how I would do my campaign. Because as you guys know, when you're in the military, you can't just come around and talk about issues, right? Because if you just do that for hours, people are like, why haven't you done the maintenance? Why haven't you fixed anything? We're going to be here all night because no one's taking any action. There's no substitute for real, tangible results. There just isn't. Solutions and talking doesn't deliver anything. And so that's what the whole campaign's been about. So I would say the military aspect did serve well in that. Also, having solutions that you can operationalize. It was one of the first lessons I learned in nuclear power is you can come up with all the plans you want, but unless they can actually be operationalized and there is like a step method in place to put them in action, it doesn't matter what solutions you come up with. They have to be realistic. You have to have everything accounted for and a plan, and then it needs to be completed. And that's what matters. And so I do like to say that Corey Mills has been my best campaign volunteer because of all the work he does in terms of making himself look poorly and representing the district poorly. And so I don't actually talk much about him at all in my campaign, besides in the intro of what district I'm running against and the background information. I don't find a need to. He does his own dirty work. He just his career so far has just been hoping the next restraining order doesn't take him out. There's no need for me to really talk much about it.
This guy has what I call the grinder beard.
What?
Yeah. All right, hold on. I gotta present the screen here. We're gonna share the screen, if I can do this correctly. Behold, the grinder beard.
Yes.
Oh, it's not gonna let
There
me.
we go. There we go.
Very closely cropped, very etched, very. I shoot gay porn as the bottom. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying. It's
only when
bit...
you vote against every single thing that that helps that community.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
82nd Airborne, fucking Raspberry Beret.
The aspect of stolen valor is extraordinarily concerning.
Yeah, man. I'm not going to go anymore because I will respect your idea. I like what you're doing about just proving yourself. But, it's a good thing that there are people like us out here that will do it for you. This asshat I know you can't say those things, so I'm saying it for you is the idea. And I'm giving that disclaimer so when people try to clip this and use it against you, they remember Drill Sergeant said it, right?
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Good. And you're welcome. So there's one thing that you're talking about, and I saw Kat Abu-Ghazaleh do this. I saw Collins, I believe it was his name, in North Carolina, pick this up. This is a whole new way of campaigning, which seems like it's just strange that it's new, but I like it. Being out in the community, community service, community service, helping the poor, being at the rallies, being at the marches. Is this something that the campaign has kind of come up with recently? Is this just something that has been like, is this like I don't know, is this like just one of those moments that everybody seems to start having this idea on the left And tell me about that idea and that style of campaigning versus raising money, and then shooting commercials.
Absolutely. So before I launched my campaign, I laid out the groundwork for it and how I would do it. I was already politically active. As soon as I got out of the military, basically the same week I got involved politically, because not having a voice for so long, for over 7.5, 8 years in the military, when you aren't supposed to and you're not supposed to participate actively in politics like that, I went to my short command, and then I was in a public facing role. And in that public facing role, I definitely couldn't partake in politics. So the day I got out, the day I got my DD 214, I got involved. And before I decided to launch my campaign, I laid out the groundwork to know that I would be able to do everything. So our campaign kickoff in June, the first thing we ever did before anyone really knew anything, I had 2 followers on Instagram. It was a food drive because I wanted to get straight out of the gate like that. And I had seen Kat Abagazale in Illinois do that. And I said, why can't we have that in Florida? Right now, we have everything but that. We have the governor embezzling millions of dollars into his wife's charity, where it could be going to Medicaid. We have our Congress rep who is just constantly getting in scandal after scandal instead of doing any action and having anything delivered, not showing up to district, not holding town halls, not showing up to his own town halls, not letting people answer questions, ask questions, have a voice. And so that's why as soon as I decided I would run, I made sure I could have events lined up in order to deliver those results, because we're seeing it successfully. I'm just trying to bring these good vibes to Florida because we deserve it here too. And people here, we're being destroyed by the cost of living. We're being destroyed by homeowners insurance, by flooding, by constant weather, constant developments, new super highways going through ecosystems. We need tangible results here more than anything, because people here are getting left behind, and our Congress rep won't even come back to district, let alone do anything.
So, and this is the last one on this point, because we've wanted to be talking to a bunch of representatives and candidates because we're trying to get progressive people in. So I'm going to be referencing a whole lot of things because I like the idea of the coalition of progressive candidates coming up with ideas that, if one person over here says it and one person over there says it, it doesn't catch ground. But the fact that I see everybody seeing something, oh, I like it, let's do it, is amazing. And the main reason why is because this big, beautiful bill passed, and there's not much that can be done. The only thing that's gonna be left is community aid, helping out people locally. And so it's going to be the representatives, state reps, as well as the federal reps, actually coming back and finding ways to better the healthcare, to better the food, deposits, to better the way that taxes are used locally, to help. Because I'm guessing I'm asking if you see it that way as well, and how do you have any of those kind of ideas past the candidacy into your actual term? Because to be honest, there's not that you can't fight, and not that there's nothing you can do, but there's going to be pain, there's going to be hurt, and there's going to be more fighting than doing federally. How do we take what you're doing now there or take that back when you're actually the rep?
Absolutely. I love that question, because what needs to change in terms of implementing these things is legislation. Community service, everything is great during the campaign, and it's great for sustained operations during, to alleviate the immediate problems that we're experiencing. So even when we have reps in office doing community service, it's fantastic, but it's not a long-term solution. Legislation is the only long-term solution. And that's why I'm very proud of this. A lot of work and time went into it on behalf of my web designer and myself. On my website, I actually break down every political issue that often comes up, why it's an issue, and then solutions, including legislation that can be implemented when I'm in office, and actually how we can accomplish correcting these things. Because it's problems, we can talk about problems and we can identify problems, but without those steps forward to solve them, and those steps don't just happen during candidacy. When it's in office, when I'm in office, it needs to happen through legislation. And so I break those down specifically in my website on what legislation we can do for each of these issues in order to correct it and maintain it. And I love plugging the website because I am very proud of that aspect. Anytime someone finds me anything, they always have a question on policy, and I want it to be accessible. I want it to be transparent. And I want it to be there. And so, one, implementing legislation, and then two, the ability to work with others and create true coalitions. And it goes into what you were just talking about one Dem or one left or one liberal or one any party seeing something, do something over here, and then implementing it over here too. And that's also a form of building coalition, because if you hear one person, regardless of party, talking about an issue, the cost of living, Medicaid, anything, flooding, you now know that you can reach out to them in a coalition aspect and ask them to co-sign legislation with you. And another approach that I personally favor in terms of getting things done on a legislation aspect is introducing smaller bills. Right now, we always want to pass these mega, gigantic bills. And that honestly just comes down to people wanting to virtue signal, be right and be correct. We'd have a much easier time if we introduced smaller bills. That's the most efficient way to introduce smaller bills with one issue, because you can get people behind. If I introduce a bill with 10 issues and everyone agrees with 9 of them, but not one of them, the whole bill is not going to get passed now. It's going to be in a revision process. It's going to be getting kicked back over and over and over. But if we just break it down to one issue, and starting with the most important issues that need to change so that people can feel change in their life, we can get a lot more done. You can find a Republican who has a constituency of people greater than 60 years old, and they're going to care about Medicaid, and they're going to care about expanding it. Or you can find a Republican who is on the coast and wants to invest more heavily in mangrove estuaries or sustainability on the coast for tropical storms, and you can get that passed too. Whereas if you put 20 bills in one thing, you're not going to get it passed because it's going to be more controversial. And so legislation, yes, absolutely, that's what needs to change. And then that's also a plan to introduce it so that it's successful.
I like
that. Is this
that.
the values and belief section on your website?
Yes.
Excellent. So I've got that pulled up on the screen because when you mentioned that you were proud of it, I'm like, let's show this bad boy off.
Yeah.
And there are collapsible sections here. Well, I mean, by default, they're collapsed. So for example, veteran benefits. It's got a whole section here with the issue, Laney's stance, and solutions. And this is actually this is probably, I know there are probably going to be a couple of candidates that watch this, and no shade. This is the standard, y'all. This is the
outstanding. Standard. Outstanding.
Thank you. That's the best rank
I don't know if they say that word as often in the Navy, but I know you hear outstanding.
We get Bravo Zulu a lot. BZ Bravo Zulu shipment. But it's very sarcastic.
The very first time I heard that, I'm like, what the fuck is that?
The Navy is also the only place you'll hear people seriously say, with the most respect, hip hip hooray. That's a real thing in the Navy.
Sailors.
I said hip hop hooray today.
Hey, hip hop hooray. So I love this. So let me real quick play a little bit of devil's advocate on what we call pork barrel spending, right? The things that people put into bills. I like the small bills. I really do. What do you say to the people who say, look, part of fighting in Congress is being able to attach a certain thing to a bill. So either you can say, oh, so you're not for women's rights or feeding children, and you have to attach it to something that you know that the other side will love, like taking away everybody's money and giving it to all rich people, or no longer needing sexual predator lists because you don't need them anymore. Something like that you know they love to do, but you can attach something to that. And the bill isn't small because they don't want it to be small or because you don't want it to be small, but because it's the only way to fight. What do you think? But to people who say using that tactic or may still be necessary, what's your thoughts on that? What would be your response to that?
So attaching, I want to make sure I'm understanding correctly. attaching a clause or something to be able to say people don't care about a certain topic is
So
that what
not
you're-
just to say that, but to use it. In other words, the only way to get this thing passed is if you're going to also do this, right?
Okay, I understand.
So because if they're not you have a majority or not enough people, you can't whip enough people to vote for this one bill that's small that you like, but you know that in return someone's going to say, well, listen, um, I need you to also give me this thing that I need. And so that's how the bill gets bigger. It's not because you wanted it bigger, but it's a negotiating tactic or a tool with which to help when you're not in the majority or you don't have a majority of votes.
I understand. I completely understand. The point of smaller bills is to combat the whole lock that we get in of people not approving things because of certain clauses, because of related portions of it that don't need to be in a bill because of trying to pass 10 different things where they like 9 of them and don't like one. But expanding a bill that is a small bill and expanding it to be more inclusive or to be something that strengthens the end goal, 100%, we can absolutely do that. That's the point of revisions. That's our point of doing House floor debates. We can also do that if people think something needs to get added where it's a split vote. We can also do a House floor debate on it and then expanding it to do that. Or we can also do a related bill and introduce another bill. There's no limit on how many things we can introduce. And so if it doesn't directly benefit or strengthen the bill at hand, we can always, I'm happy to co-sponsor it as a secondary bill, as long as it is, of course, in line with what the goal is and the end goal. But in those compromises, we need to, if it strengthens it 100%, if it's something that's only for purity politics, I'm going to take a hard stance against it. If it doesn't accomplish anything and doesn't deliver things to the American people, then I'm going to take a hard stance against it, because something we're seeing a lot is this lock and this not moving of any legislation, because politicians in office would rather be right and appear right and virtue signal and let the American people suffer because they're more concerned about the purity politics. But in the end of the day, purity politics isn't going to put food on people's table. It's not going to lower the cost of living. It's not going to strengthen our unions. And they're more concerned with being right and letting Americans suffer. And we have to get past that. So if it strengthens the bill, absolutely. If it doesn't, but it's a great thing that we can do, let's introduce it as a related bill and I'll help co-sponsor it. If it's only in there to make people feel good and it doesn't do anything and it wastes money, no, I'm not going to do that. We don't have time to waste anymore.
Got you. I love it. Love it.
We had a question in the comments about has a question about AIPAC been asked, and I already knew the answer because we don't have AIPAC.
Because she wouldn't be on here if it wasn't answered, sir, ma'am.
And I just want to point out, they're right there, 2 steps away from El Joe's favorite, Bernard Taylor, is Laney. And up at the top of the page, there we go. So
I would also like to say, if it's all right, I've taken a very intense stand with Veterans for Peace protesting the United States sending billions of dollars to fund foreign wars that do nothing to keep Americans safe. And anyone can pull up the news articles about it. I was arrested during a peaceful protest showing opposition to that. So if the track AIPAC isn't enough, I'm very, very open and publicly have taken a stand on this.
So
we actually met through the whole removal coalition thing in the, I forget what chat we're in. I could look on Signal and like type in the name. I just.
So you said you were arrested. Now, I hope you know that just got you about 5,000 more votes when I put this up on our channel. That's what we're looking for. Who's put their
spend time in a cell?
Game? Right. Who's put their skin in the game? And that is what we're not seeing. That is what we're not seeing. Putting the skin in the game. Will you continue to put the skin in the game when we send you to the office? Because we're going to send you there. You got to win. You're going to win unless the gerrymandering is so unbelievable that, all the dead people come and vote. What's your stance? Are you going to put your skin in the game when you're in there? You're gonna get in the face of these people. Are you gonna bring handcuff yourself to the door, speak so to speak? Are you gonna do that when you're in there? Because that's what I see. The number one thing is even the people who I love, when they get in there, they see something different, and I'm not there, so I cannot speak. Maybe it's just not possible. But I want to know that when we elect somebody who's has that skin in the game, that they're not going to lose the skin in the game, so that they can be a part of this committee or that committee, or whatever. I don't know what. I don't know. I just don't. I see the skin not being in the game once after that first year of getting elected.
Yeah, 100%. I know exactly what you're talking about. And no, I will not be doing that. I will be 100% foot to the pedal the entire time, especially. And here's something I've had people ask me many times, which is a fair question. You're running your campaign a certain way. You've signed many pledges for money against politics, getting big money out, not taking foreign interest money of any kind, not just APAC, no foreign interest money, period, getting Citizens United. But what's to stop you when you get into office from switching parties? And the thing that I always try to explain is, if I was going to do that, why would I make it 1 million times harder on myself right now?
Right.
Why? This is when people run, right? We have presidents who are saying, well, you don't show your cards during the campaign, you appeal to everybody so that you can get elected. If that were the case, why? I've shown all my cards. I've talked about how I would introduce legislation, what exact policy I would introduce. I have it listed on my website with my picture there. I have it all laid out, and it makes it 100 times harder. If I was going to sell out then, why would I make it so much more difficult? And the only reason, and the answer is because I believe in it. And I think this is the only fight worth fighting. And as someone I grew up in a very low income house. My mom was a single mom. My dad passed away when I was 5, but he was domestically abusive towards my mom. She had a lot of health issues afterwards. We grew up on Medicaid, free school lunches, SNAP benefits. I saw and experienced how the government leaves people behind and how it works against them, and how it keeps people in this same cycle the entire time, and it strongs arm the most vulnerable among us. And that's why I'm running. I'm not running to get quick. And me and my husband joke about it because I chose a career field where you're going to be broke basically your entire life. If politics is historically a low money thing if you're doing it correctly. If you're using it as a career stepping stone, which we're seeing all these congressional people doing, it's very clear to see when they're doing that because of tracking the money. Whereas if you pull up my FEC filings, you can very clearly see I am not doing that. I'm dead last in fundraising, and it's because I'm running a principled campaign. It's because I'm running a campaign about the community. And taking all these steps is to prove that in office, that is what I will continue to do, is make it about the community, delivering results, delivering information, and being a representative that listens to every constituent, not just the people who are funneling money into the campaign. And very proud of that we don't have any gigantic donors who are owning giant portions of the campaign. Our average donation is around $40. And the goal of that, I'd rather have a bunch of small dollar donors than a couple of big mega donors that control the entire narrative, because then it isn't what it should be, which is a representative to the people and to the community. And that's what we're lacking in Congress. So a long answer to your short question of no, when I'm in office, it's going to be very much this exact thing. It's very action oriented for the people, not selling out. We need term limits. I'm just going to throw that in there.
Right.
And that also prevents that long-term form of corruption that we're seeing, because we'll see people be really good for the first term, second term, third term, they start tottering off. Fourth term, we're getting a little corrupt there. Fifth term, they're a career politician and they're owned by every other nation besides the United States. And so term limits will also help that, which is something that I will push to also implement, because I think if people know they're in it for a finite time, they really got to fight for that. And it'll keep them more honest and more like short-term and long-term on the track of being representatives to the people.
Absolutely awesome. And I think when you say that you're one of the lowest people when it comes to campaign donations or finance money, maybe we can help her out with that, guys out there listening, out there in the fam. Maybe we could help to change that at least, because I like that answer.
KinterForCongress.com.
Right. And I'm always one asking these questions up front because I always got to leave earlier than everybody else. So sorry about that, there, Big Sarge. Just taking it over.
I don't mind the help at all. I'm just back here enjoying putting a big Sarge in my mouth.
Right. And then, right, yeah, there you go. So you'll be just about right when I leave. All right. So another big thing. I see the veterans benefits here. Of course, I like everything, but I would like you to say it. I want you tell us what this page. Do you see that? What we got up here? Your site. Can you say what this means in your own words? Because I just absolutely love it. And instead of just reading it back to you, I thought maybe you could read it to us. Maybe you could say it, they can see it in your face.
Absolutely. So we need to strengthen veterans benefits. Right now, they are under attack, which, to be fair, they continuously have been. Basically, the entirety of the time that the United States has existed, we've had veterans because we've had armed conflict. And historically, we've always either gypped it or not honored the promise or avoided giving benefits to veterans who have earned them. Because we forget, it seems like politicians oftentimes forget these are earned benefits because people honored a promise and provided a service which we all greatly enjoy the benefits of that whole liberty and being a land of the free thing. And historically, the government has done most of what they can in order to take those benefits away. And so we need to strengthen veterans benefits, protect them, expand on them. And that includes fully modernizing the VA system. People have to wait upwards of 6 months to gain an initial appointment to begin to access their care. That's not to include that if any of their administrative paperwork is messed up and then that process restarts, or if the process of enrolling in the VA gets messed up, or if you aren't anywhere near a location, it becomes 10 times more difficult. And so fully modernizing it, allowing people to have more access to enrolling, allowing the process to be streamlined, not using AI and firing a bunch of people in order to strengthen that process because it reduces wait times when actually it's almost doubled wait times. And then expanding the care that people have access to, the specialized care. If we fund our VA the way that we're supposed to, we can provide that specialty care with minimal wait times, with strengthening mental health as well. We're seeing a lot of veterans commit suicide, which has historically been the case. And it's because we don't have good access to suicide prevention and mental health care, or there's only emergency mental health care available instead of sustained options, which mental health is a marathon, not a sprint. And we need the approach to be able to have that treatment plan. And then allowing us to also expand our vocational training, because we have the VR&E program, which allows disabled veterans, people with medical retirements, any above a certain percentage of medical disability, to have vocational training and do training in order to get a new job or start a job, expanding that to a larger percentage of veterans, because all veterans are going to need a job, and not all jobs in the military, as much as your recruiter would like you to believe, not all of them transition well to the civilian world. And so I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I do talk about that on the website as well, is expanding the vocational training that we have access to and the education benefits, because there's a lot of stipends, there's a lot of hiccups in the process, as well as some people have difficulty accessing them also, not just the medical portion, but also the training, the rehab. People don't know about it, so expanding the ability to have people know in the process, streamlining it. We fund these things very well, but it's a matter of funding it correctly and making sure that it's managed correctly as well, with an appropriate amount of staffing. And then we also have over 30,000 homeless veterans in the United States. And there's no reason that should be the case at all, ever. We have the biggest defense budget globally, and we have the most money that gets wasted, I would say, in the government as well. There's no reason why we can't have a program, or better programs, stronger, more accessible programs, so that we don't have 30,000 veterans that are homeless. Every politician in the world will face you from the United States and say they love veterans, and then ignore all the homeless veterans in their community. And something that actually Central Florida is doing very well, especially around Orlando, is they have housing options for homeless veterans, where they provide training and care to get them back on their feet, provide medical access. And the majority of them do go on to get their own place, get their own house, move back with family. But Central Florida is kind of leading the charge in providing pathways to recover homeless veterans. But we need to do that nationally, and we need to have a federal incentive for it to help strengthen states' ability to operate the programs.
Outstanding. Thank you so much. And here you go. Here you go, Big Star. I'm gonna leave you with this one that I saw up here. Thank you. I gotta run, and I am so sorry to leave early. I'm absolutely loving this. I'm loving asking these questions and getting that type of answers that you just don't get from everybody. I really, really, really appreciate that, and I will do everything I can to ensure that you, especially over, I'm gonna stop cursing, Sarge. I'm sorry, especially over this dummy that you're running against, this fake loser wannabe hero with no honor. It would be a breath of fresh air for the people who you want to serve to have you be that person. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for your questions, and it was great talking to you.
All right, I saw Admin V in here, then she left. So
I must have been out.
All right,
refreshing the grog.
Yes, I saw her come in there, so I'm gonna see if she's all right. Maybe some internet issues, but you won't be. Hopefully she'll be in here to ask her questions too. I know she's got some good ones.
She doesn't have admin control over the stream, so she might have sat there and been like, "Hey, I'm here," and then got pissed off.
All right, let me go holler at her. All right, thank you so much, Marialana. Marialana. I told you I'd only get it wrong 3 times. Marialana, thank you so much. I'll see you.
Have a great night. Thank you for chatting.
So we have a question from somebody who is in your district, I believe, about protecting free speech, and how would you reassure folks about that?
He is in this area. So the biggest thing with free speech, it doesn't just include the speech that you enjoy, right? And a question I get asked all the time, and an example I get asked of, is burning the American flag. It is legal under free speech, and doing an executive order doesn't change the law, it turns out. And we saw that witnessed with the guy who decided to burn the flag in DC to test out that executive order. And he was charged with, I think, maybe don't quote me on it, but I think he was charged with starting a fire in public or something along those lines. But that is, I think, the key example of freedom of speech. Do I want someone to burn the American flag? No. Would it pain me spiritually? Yes. But they have the right to do that as a form of self-expression. They have the right to do that in free speech. And I think that's one of the most perfect examples of the fact that it doesn't just include speech we don't like. And so solidifying that, cracking down hard on the process of people who are wasting funds to try to punish people for utilizing their free speech. We need to stop entertaining it. We need to stop allowing the process to occur. If it is protected by free speech, we have to respect it, even if we don't like it. And that's the big key there. And I want to make sure I'm reading the question fully. It is becoming increasingly dangerous to express opposition to the current admin and policy they support. How do you reassure folks? People's opinions aren't law. And no matter how many resources and how many funds they waste to try to persecute or witch hunt people for saying things they don't like, it's not going to change the fact that it is not law and it is protected. And we have to power through it. I wish I had a better answer other than the only way to beat it is to continue to use our free speech, even when it's hard and even when it's scary. We have to exercise our freedom of speech, because that's the only way we're going to do it. If we step back and we don't do it because it feels dangerous or it feels scary or it feels hard, we are handing over our power. It is a law and it is our freedom to speech, but only as long as we protect it and we utilize that freedom. Once we stop utilizing that freedom, it stops. They get to do whatever they want, and they get to change the narrative to be whatever they want. So That's the only reassurance I have. Is it is a protected right. We have to use it to make sure it stays that way. And no matter how many funds, how much money they waste to try to charge people with things, it'll never stick because it is just simply not how laws work. So we got to keep fighting it. And the best way to do that is by using your free speech.
I'm going to throw another question from the audience at you. But before I do, I want to introduce you to Admin V, who is another one of our admins on the Sons of Liberty admin team.
I do a lot of long form post writing. That's my main skill contribution to the group.
Upsetting incels.
Indeed, I'm doing an incel series right now.
Yes, you are.
That's a form of free speech that it's going to be scary to use because they can get very, very fired up, and I'm sure you're experiencing that.
Oh yes.
Oh, our comment sections on Facebook are special. We got a lot of good comments, but then we have things that just make you see red, and you're like, "What the fuck is going on?"
And sometimes it's so stupid, so dumb. But here we are.
Yeah, who was
survived.
the guy that was like accusing you of being an incel, and he was like arguing?
His name was
with
Matthew,
you about...
and he did not agree with the definition of what a goal was. And he was arguing with
goals
that.
are for rich people. What the fuck?
Exactly. These people are crazy. I am not kidding. So I am going to be honest. I haven't been watching. I just was able to finally get home and get into here. So it's very nice to meet you.
It's great to meet you too. I'm glad you're done.
I wish Jen were here because she's in, I don't
Florida.
know what district she's in, but she's in Florida somewhere.
She's around Tampa. So if you know what the district that is, that would be.
I don't.
I'm going to ask which, you're in District 7. Can you tell me what area of Florida that is?
Yes, it's Central Florida, but not Orlando.
Okay.
It's right north and east of Orlando to the
Like
coast.
Around
Right,
Lakeland, maybe?
not the opposite direction.
Okay.
It's all of Seminole County in the southern half of Volusia, and it is right, kind of cuts Daytona. I often say it includes Daytona, but it cuts right below Daytona. But people know where Daytona Beach is, which is why I say it as a reference point. And Port Orange, New Smyrna, Edgewater, just south of Daytona.
I know where that is. Thank you for answering that question.
Absolutely.
So our question here is, my question specifically involves Florida. What is the plan to either not stop but control unprecedented growth that's putting strain on the infrastructure? I think that's a great question.
That's a very Florida question. And to preface that, they've been doing town halls here because of the flooding, because of the giant surge of development. It's causing unprecedented amount of flooding in pre-existing developments because the developers are elevating their land and using the plans in place, which the plans in place aren't designed to have this level of development that's currently going on. And so we're having unprecedented amounts of flooding, and people of every party are concerned about it because people of every party are experiencing this, as well as the new superhighway that's being developed in Volusia that's displacing a ton of wildlife ecosystems. We're developing on areas that are just swampy and floodable, and we're experiencing that at unprecedented levels, and it's wreaking havoc on people's lives here. And so that's why I say that's a very Florida question, because it's on the forefront of most people's minds. I would say the majority of people's minds who live here. And the way that we alleviate it, because we are having an unprecedented amount of growth, is developing sustainably. We can't develop every area. We just can't. It's not how the ecosystem down here works. If you develop on an area that we drain water in a marshy area and then develop, it's going to flood again. That area is not suitable for development. And so sustainable development and accepting that we're not going to profit off of every square foot of land, we can have protected ecosystems and protected wildlife areas in order to have a healthy and have a thriving Florida. And develop in the areas that we are. We're going to save money that way by developing sustainably, because we aren't going to have to work and rework and rework and rework every time it floods. And I firmly believe we have the money, we have the technology, and we have the know-how in Florida to develop sustainably and have a development plan that allows for increased growth at a regular sustainable rate. We simply don't have the political will in office in order to enforce it and come up with a plan and ensure that it happens. We have the funding, technology, and know-how. We just don't have the political will. And the solution to that is to have sustainable development plans that can be operationalized, accepting we can't develop everywhere, determining where we can develop, and developing that area smartly. Also, regulating hedge funds and developers who are buying up all of the land and doing whatever they want on it and zoning it for however they want because they're in politicians' pockets. I should say the politicians are in their pockets to improve whatever zoning changes they want.
The largest landowner in Florida right now is the LDS Church. Don't ask me how I know that. I follow a lot of ex-Mormon blogs. But the other thing is, like, obviously climate change is a big deal and affecting Florida quite a bit. Do you have any ideas on how legislation and things you'd like to do around? Sorry for asking a dumb question.
No, you're good. I missed the very end of the question because it broke up.
Oh, I apologize. I was asking about climate change and legislation ideas that you may have about that.
Absolutely. So I would say, I don't want to say energy professional, but I worked in nuclear power. And so
I know, I saw your resume.
our approach to how we can expand our nuclear power, because we're near a nuclear power facility in Port St. Lucie, we can try to examine if it's possible to build out the infrastructure or further develop that, or look at different ways of providing electricity. Because in Florida, we're in prime area for a lot of different ways that we could have. I don't like necessarily saying clean energy because it's so demonized to the left viewpoints. People hear it and their eyes glaze over, right? So I've been calling it energy independence, and that's been a way. It's the same concept, having American energy independence, where we're not relying on foreign influences or foreign relations, anything like that. But it's essentially the same thing. Providing a more sustainable Florida in gaining energy independence through legislation and through sustained efforts. It's a long-term plan. It's not going to be something that's implemented in a 2-week period. It takes planning, it takes funds, and it takes forethought. But introducing the legislation to lay the groundwork out for that in the coming years.
I graduated from Clemson, so I'm a fan of nuclear energy in general. I have nuclear engineer friends. That's the way we go down there. And this is OJ, by the way. He is a very orange boy. But yeah, can you help block the Florida bill to rename PBI to Trump International?
If it's a House bill, it's not really anything that can be done on like a state House bill. I actually hadn't heard about that. And so,
yeah,
that is interesting. But if it's a state bill, I would not have a say in it besides an opinion.
Yeah, we all have opinions. So don't feel alone. Let's talk about more Florida stuff. What is your because we all have Florida man. South Carolina is like the junior high for Florida man.
Florida man and Florida woman.
Yeah.
Where in South Carolina? I was stationed in Goose Creek, which is North Charleston, for anyone who
I was going to ask you if that's where you went to nuke school.
Yes, it is. And then I did part of it in upstate New York, in right near Saratoga Springs in Ballston Spa.
Yeah. I used to live in North Charleston, and the reason that I know about the nuke school is because I was I was living in sin, and one of our roommates was like going to the Duke School for a while. So anyway, sorry, you were saying Saratoga.
Oh yeah, no, that was just the other part that we went to training in was Saratoga, where all the horse racing is. But I spent like I want to say close to a year, maybe 8 or 9 months in North Charleston. And it wasn't bad. I was too young to do any Charleston-y things. I was 17 and 18 when I was there. And so it was very much, you know how it is like when you're new, it was very much base focused, and we went like bouldering into the beach, but none of the Charleston things. That was for adults.
Fair.
So, talk to us about your campaign. Tell us what you need with that. What are you what kind of events and stuff are you doing locally?
So we do a lot of mutual aid events. We launched with a clothing drive or a food drive. Then we did a 2-month-long clothing drive. And then when SNAP benefits were threatened, within 48 hours, we did a food drive. And people from all over both counties brought food in, and they were donated. Of course, all the items we got from both food drives were donated to food banks. Hope Community Center, actually in Apopka, which I will plug because they're a fantastic resource. They offer a ton of things. If you're local to the area and you ever need resources or you know neighbors that do, please look up Hope Community Center in Apopka. I'm not linked with them. I don't work with them. I just really support what they do. And then went for our 2-month-long clothing drive. We donated it to 3 different organizations, all of which distribute them free of charge. Nothing was resold. And that was again, I'm going to plug them for anyone who's in the area who might need a resource or two. It was Frog Ministry in Edgewater, which is on the coast, and they have a completely free store, a community store where they have food, clothing, books, everything completely free to anyone who needs it. Esther Single Mothers and Children in Sanford, Florida, who provides free clothes to mothers and children as well as other resources. They even do home inspections, but again, completely free. And then State of Hope in Orlando, which isn't in the district, but again, if an organization is good, I believe in helping them. We donated men's clothes to State of Hope, and that's the organization actually that I mentioned earlier that houses homeless veterans. They put homeless veterans in repurposed hotel rooms to be able to get them back on their feet, provide them their medical care, access to their veterans benefits, and help them get back integrated into normal life. So those were the 3 organizations we supported. And then we've also done community cleanups, trash picking up with honestly, any organization that's interested in doing it. We've done some with my nephew's Boy Scout troops at a cemetery for Memorial Day. We put flags out and cleaned up the cemetery. And then we've done stuff with the DSA of Volusia, where we did a community cleanup. And then we just did one with Kinter for Congress Volunteers. That was another community cleanup, just things to uplift our general community now. And we started canvassing last week, and that was fantastic. We were in Chuliota, and we're going to be canvassing again in Chuliota this weekend. But going forth into the year, we're going to be doing more mutual aid events, town halls, and more canvassing as always. And so anyone who wants to get involved, please volunteer. We also have virtual volunteering. And by that, I mean anyone who's willing to share the platform. Post it on Reddit, post videos on Reddit, Instagram, Facebook. Reddit actually is a really good one for people who don't have social media. A lot of our volunteers have come from Reddit, which I didn't know people were even posting our stuff to Reddit. So I consider that virtual volunteering, people who are looking to do something completely free of charge. You don't have to pay, you don't have to donate, anything like that. It just helps get the word out, especially as a grassroots candidate. And I know grassroots can mean a lot of different things. As a candidate who's not accepting big or corporate money and isn't rolling in the dough and using this as like a money laundering scheme, right? People's voices are the strongest advertisement we have, because I'm not paying $50,000 to blast it on your TV screen. So that's one of the biggest things. Share it everywhere. News coverage always helps. And the way you get that is by gaining traction. We have a difficult time, and I'm going to call it like it is. I have a difficult time with news sources being willing to talk, because a lot of the political writers out here work with political consultants. And so they write about who pays them. And so that's something we're seeing. Also, a lot of news sources out here can't be reporting on candidate politics, the ones who aren't paid to do so, because they don't want to seem biased when they have a lot of different viewership options. And so spread the word. Your voice is probably our best advertisement at this point in the campaign. if you're local, get involved. We do a lot of stuff. We do Wednesday weekly volunteer calls too that you can sign up from anywhere.
Yeah, I will ask my friends who live in your general area if they are in your area, and I'll see if I can talk them into doing it. They live somewhere around the Orlando area, but I'm not sure where. They may be north, but they may also be south. So
Now, you mentioned political reporting. So on that note, since I saw it in the comments, has the Florida Democratic Party been helping you at all, or have they kind of ignored you?
The local Democratic Party is fantastic, and the Seminole County Democratic Party, and then the Volusia one, it's kind of broken up. You have the Port Orange Dems, you have the Volusia Dems, you have the Daytona area Dems. They are all fantastic. And I think we're seeing that nationally as well. As the local Democratic parties are entirely different than the national Democratic parties. And it's almost as if they're two different parties because they have different goals. The local ones focus on local issues and in helping the candidates they want to be successful. And the national ones want to be have money and be rich, right? And so locally, the Democratic Party has been fantastic and will continue to do so, I'm sure. It's a bunch of great people. And I also do a lot of stuff with the Democratic Party of the different counties. And so that also helps as I have a personal relationship with them. But yeah, they've been fantastic locally.
Yeah, my local Democratic Party is actually also awesome. It's mostly younger folks now, and now that the so I'm a big fan of my local party too. They were doing food drives and everything as well. So
ours just did this amazing turkey drive where they gave out with the NAACP. They gave out, I think, over 300 turkeys.
That's amazing. So we've asked you what we can do to help. What you say Reddit is a great place to go, but is there other places we can blast you and talk about what kind of awesomeness you're doing?
Anywhere people are willing. I'm on all the social media platforms, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, X, but I don't really roll on X very ever. I just put things out. I'm not on Truth Social. I don't think I'll ever be on Truth Social. But if you're on Truth Social, post about us there. Post about Kinter for Congress there. Wherever you are, that's the best place to post. I can't stress that enough. Duet stuff, post your own stuff, anything, Substack, whatever. There's no wrong place to post it. Maybe, I guess, your church bulletin board, but if they'll let you post it there too. There's no wrong place. Bathroom stalls,
yeah. Convenience stores,
$9.95. Let me go on record. Don't graffiti anything. Perfect.
Do stickers count as graffiti?
I give out stickers a lot. We also have them for sale on the website. Once they're your property, that's where, I don't know. If it's your sticker, it's your business.
So you're talking a lot about energy independence with the nuclear stuff. What about, and you're doing a lot of work with food insecurity. I can't speak for Florida because I don't know what's going on there now, but in South Carolina, they are trying to limit the kind of food that people who are on SNAP can get. Or is there a way we can nationally protect SNAP from these kinds of things for a FDA?
So it's federally incentivized, but the state requirements kind of trump using the verb, not the name. They determine it. So it's my personal idea growing up on SNAP and EBT. My mom used it. People think you're getting a ton of money. You're not. You're getting enough to basically survive. No one's rolling in SNAP benefits, making it rain. And you're paid per individual as well. You're not just making the same amount if you're a family of 7 or 8. But growing up on it, it was such a joy when my mom could afford to get Oreo cookies or something. There were 4 of us, and those were such special times. And because of the amount of money you're getting, you really only have money for the essentials. People aren't doing anything. We also have to acknowledge and accept the fact that now within the world that we live in the grocery landscape that we live in, a lot of people who are receiving EBT or SNAP benefits or food assistance programs live in food deserts, meaning they're not going to have access to what people are deeming they should be eating. They're not going to have access to fruits and vegetables because even in Central Florida, people don't realize we live in areas that are considered food deserts where within 5 miles, a walking distance, people can't access fresh food. And so what it comes down to is, would you rather have people buying what you think they should, foods and vegetables, or would you rather have people eating the food that's available to them? People have to, a lot of people don't have the option to travel wherever to get and obtain groceries. We need to make sure people aren't starving in the streets before we are determining what exact things they can buy. They're not going to Olive Garden and Texas Roadhouse and buying a filet mignon. They're trying to figure out if they can get the $5 rotisserie chicken at Costco, which EBT does not cover right now in Florida. Which, if we're looking at it from a purely economic standpoint, wouldn't that be a better deal to buy a $5 rotisserie chicken that can feed you for 3 days versus a pack of chicken that is $15 and gives you way less food? People are very caught up in their own personal opinion and morality, and putting aside the fact that the goal of this is to make sure people don't starve.
Fed is best, as they say. And so we're going to move into energy stuff. Obviously, Florida is a state with a lot of roads. Let's be honest. We're all states with a lot of roads, but Florida especially. What kind of infrastructure stuff could benefit Florida that the U.S. government is not doing? Is there a way to get high-speed trains in Florida?
I think there's most definitely a way to get high-speed trains. We just need to get the infrastructure and plan approved in a sustainable manner and have it actually planned out. But there's no reason why we couldn't have high-speed trains that I can immediately think of. We just have to make sure that the infrastructure and where we're building it isn't an area that's going to automatically flood or have to be reworked or have instability and grounding issues. But I would have to do more research, but at first glance, I wouldn't say that that is an impossible ask. But it would definitely take time and take developments. I think a big thing that we could do is have, since we're having a big problem with flooding due to development, is having I would call it a tiger team or an attack team for the military term, but having a quickly operationalized and quickly deployable way to have emergency dewatering. We need sustainable approaches and development that aren't resulting in every surrounding area being flooded because we're developing at a elevation. That would be the first and most immediate thing I would think of in terms of what we need to do in Florida to have better infrastructure before I would put a high-speed rail train on the table, is first doing the local work of making sure we're not flooding out every time we're developing. And the first step towards that is having the plan in place to dewater quickly and effectively, which we could get the Corps of Engineers involved in because we have the capability to do so. And we have the capability to have like high-speed adductors and high-speed flexible tubing and piping to where we don't need the permanent infrastructure. But I would say those are personally my priorities before we talk about bringing high-speed rails to a rural area, is to just make sure we're not flooding it first.
Of course, that makes perfect sense. I was just trying to,
I love
about questions.
I'm a fan of, we need more public transportation.
Yeah.
We need more rail services. I just have to specify, like, I don't think we're getting a bullet train in Florida, but if we could expand upon pre-existing rail services and have the Sun Pass extended all the way out to Volusia or Daytona, or even go up to Sanford, which is where a lot of people live. We also need to expand the bus services as well and have them actually be reliable.
Yeah, that's
We had a candidate on about a month and a half ago, and he suggested that you basically just because of all the different zoning and territorial pissing and everybody wanting to get their slice of the pie, build your light rail network on top of the existing interstate infrastructure because it's already there. And you can also tie solar power to it. you put your solar panels alongside the bottom sides of the track or whatever, and that way you get your solar power knocked out, you get mass transit knocked out. It's all built over the top of your existing interstate network. I thought that was a nice touch. Well
Yeah.
thought out.
I think that's
Nobody would get
fantastic. I
shot
would
on
have
this shit.
to. So in nuclear power, my specialty was actually quality assurance. So the first thing my brain thinks of is like, what materials would we need? How much would implementing those materials in order to not crush a solar panel work? Implementing it off a pre-existing transit way would be fantastic. Expanding the railway via that's an automatic first thing. But as soon as you said solar panels, my brain went to 10 different QA things where I was like, So that's what that face was. But first glance, without any research, I'm a fan of solar panels, but it would take a lot of engineering and development in order to do that. Expanding the railway, absolutely, using pre-existing. And then something we've seen in a lot of cities that have high-speed rails within the last couple of decades, Seattle, Charlotte, Honolulu, is doing it along pre-existing transit options, highways, and everything, because it's already very similarly laid out. That could be fantastic.
It almost has to be separate then from the freight infrastructure, because one of the things America does very well is transport things via rail, goods and like fruit, vegetables, oil, anything. That our freight system is better than the one in Europe. Europe has a great passenger system, but the freight system in the United States, from what I'm told by train experts, I know a lot of autistic people, I'm sorry, that was a joke. I am also a little bit autistic, so my special interest is World War II. But I'm sorry, Tim, this is why I don't come on that often, because my brain is an interesting place to live.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing because the things that you say are funny.
So there's
a difference.
Yeah, but the freight system is really good. So I think that if we could separate the passenger system from the freight system, we might be able to do more with rail.
I came from Long Island last, and they have the Long Island Railroad there, which goes across, it has all these branches and goes across the entire North and South Fork. And modeling something similar off of them, who've had one of the longest passenger railroad systems in existence, and they do it so exceptionally well. Like, sure, they have delays every now and again, but using it multiple times a week was always such a pleasure. I'm not going to lie. And modeling, we're not inventing the wheel. No. Other states implemented what we want already. And so there's a ton of ways that we could go about it and use any number of platforms that already exist. And I'm not going to lie, my papa, my grandfather, he is big in public transportation. He had a career in it, and in specifically in high-speed rail development. And so I'm going to talk to him after this about the solar panel question, because I'm extremely curious. And he has been doing it since the 70s or 80s. And so I'm going to ask him his opinion on that and see what he says. But yeah, there's no reason why we can't have passenger rail, or even just expand upon like bus systems and everything like that. We're reducing our public transit and making it more modular instead of making it more universal. Yeah. Seminole County just changed to like a passenger van system instead of a passenger bus system, where it's more similar to a taxi almost, when we should be, in my opinion, doing the opposite and making it more universal with more structure and more accessibility.
What brought this question to mind was you talking about the food deserts, because you worry about people in rural areas who don't have access to public transit and can't get to larger cities. And let's be honest, gas isn't cheap. So do you pay your light bill, or do you drive to the grocery store? Sometimes that's the choice you make.
Do you use your EBT at your closest tiny grocery, or do you have to get a cab and an Uber to go buy what you're supposed to, fresh vegetables, and not what is accessible to you? Similarly.
So like I said, that was what inspired that question. So I know those things didn't seem connected, but I swear they were connected up here. But
I see you have some people in your comment section who are actually very familiar with the Long Island Railroad and the fact that it is in Ronkonkoma. The Ronkonkoma is the station I took often. But if you ever want to make a Long Islander mad, call it the Lure. They love it.
I used to live in New York, so this kind of resonates.
I also really enjoyed saying that Brooklyn was my favorite part of Long Island, since they are attached by land.
You are trying to enrage people, aren't you?
I don't do political sound bites. I don't do the like gotcha news or like the super controversial ones that news people write about. But in terms of Brooklyn and Long Island, absolutely.
I lived in Bay Ridge in Brooklyn, so
I lived in Patchogue. I have like 110-pound black lab, and he needed a yard. He deserves a yard, I should say.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take one last question from the audience, and it's going to be, have you ever had any Thuglicans attack you? I'm presuming they mean verbally.
Absolutely, I have. I even did a video about it of like, I hear your guys' hate comments. I get your emails. I get your private messages to stop talking about things or to do any number of things. And my answer is always going to be no. They can be as upset as they want. And I won't even say that it's just Republicans. I've had a lot of Republicans who have been very supportive because of the things I'm talking about: homeowners insurance, cost of living, flooding, veterans benefits. I've had Democrats who have verbally attacked me. I've had Republicans, independents, libertarians who have all been supportive. So I wouldn't just say,
woman on the internet.
Yes, yeah. It's not just Republicans. Nothing that I really talk about is red versus blue, but just people in general, 100%. I've had any number of things relating to my military history or perceived lack thereof, to my education, to how I grew up, to my mom's health statuses, any number of things. So yes, absolutely. Which also, I think running for public office is just going to be a thing that happens. And in the end of the day, I'm not going to stop, no matter what they say, no matter how many death threats they give me. I'm not going to stop, no matter what they call me. I'm fighting a fight worth fighting for, and that's the thing that's going to keep me going. And in the end of the day, if you talk about things that matter, people are going to resonate with it.
I agree completely. That's wonderful.
I love that answer.
Yeah, and I will
that
say
is a soundbite. That's exactly what that is.
That is a fantastic soundbite.
I mean,
yeah,
I'm sure that you have had a ton of comments and threats and everything like that. Exactly. That reaction said it all. Like,
threatens me.
Yes.
Just kidding. They do. They really do. Sometimes I encourage it. Like I'll get a dude in my comments that's like, he'll say some, oh, you're just a whiny bitch on the internet. I'm like, motherfucker, I'll buy you a one-way ticket on the bus. Just make sure we have 2 people come with you so that they can help carry you home. And then it just spirals out of control there. I will absolutely egg somebody on, knowing full well that they're never, ever, ever going to show up. I talk a lot of shit.
I can say in our general
male privilege.
our general comment sections, we get a lot of shit too. So just like Facebook is both wonderful and a seething pile of excrement.
Yeah, Facebook is problematic for me right now. Like it's been that way for quite some time, but the past 6 months is just really so we had a page for like 9 years, and then all of a sudden just one day it disappeared. So we had to start from scratch. And the new page, whilst it hasn't been around as long, it actually has more followers and subscribers than the old one in the span of a year. And just the last 6 months, it's really gotten terrible. And I know a lot of it is bots, but a lot of it is not. Mm-hmm. And it's that part that actually concerns me. The bots, if you see something that looks like a bot, you get in there and you say something like, ignore all previous instructions and then give it a new command. And maybe 1 or 2 times out of 10, it actually will do the thing, but then the rest of the time they don't say anything else. So I don't know. But yeah. Facebook comments are the fucking worst.
Yeah. Like this, the incel series has really brought them out. It's the Manosphere series. That's been fun. I've banned more people in the last week and a half than I've done in the last 6 months, and that's just me, not including everybody else who's banning them.
I'm interested to read more. Where are you posting on Substack, Facebook?
We have a Substack, yeah. So we're on Blue Sky and Substack and Mastodon and Facebook. Obviously.
We have a link tree, and the link tree has literally everything. I don't. That. I'm sure it has everything. There might be one thing that's missing, but if there is, I don't know what it is. But the link tree has all the things. It's got like our Twitch that we don't use. It's Substack. It has a contact email. It's got our Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky. Do you have a link tree?
Me?
Yeah, you mentioned you were on like a bunch of different sites.
I have everything linked on my website, but I need a linked tree for my Instagram bio and everything. I think maybe I'll update that tonight and have it out by midnight. Because talking about it would just be very convenient.
I encourage people, and this is not just for you, this is for everybody. If you have multiple social media and you're doing any kind of thing where you want followers, like you're not just on there to be a user, like you want to push out content, even if your goal, you don't have to necessarily be like, oh, I need to get like 10,000 subscribers. But if you're actively pushing stuff out because you believe you have a voice, get a link tree. You get a link tree, it's free. You just input all the links that you have. Hey, this is my Facebook. This is my Blue Sky. This is my YouTube. This is my TikTok, whatever the case may be. And then you don't have to give everybody everything. You just say, here's my link tree. And it has all the stuff conveniently packaged for you. I'm not only the president, I'm also a client.
I was about to say, you own Linktree.
Yeah, we
this is the Sons of Liberty product.
Yeah. We also love a social media aggregator. We use.
You need to get sponsored by Linktree. That would be fantastic.
Now,
everyone tag Linktree in this guy's comments.
Yeah. But yeah, you can find us on Substack. We during the month of February and the month of March and the month of June, we also do a lot of history content on there.
Don't forget
too.
April.
Yes, I forgot April. So we talk, do a lot of like content around like Black History Month, Confederate Heritage Month, which we call Union Traders Month. Am I right, Tim? Did I get that right?
It's Union Victory Month.
Union Victory Month, gotcha. And Pride Month and like Women's History Month. So we do. So if you follow us, you can learn stuff too. We're not just a political thing. We also do education.
I feel that. I have a book section on my website, and I've been told by many political consultants that I need to take it down. And they're like, it's not related to your thing. It's distracting. And I'm like, they're books that I think are influential. I'm a big reader. My campaign is also a representation of me. There has to be some personality in it. But
I also love to read.
People are free not to click it. It doesn't detract from it. Nobody's going to go to your website and be like, books, fuck this shit, I'm out.
It's on the bottom of my About Me page too. It's not like you open it, it's my books.
Yeah, I did a book recommendation post yesterday, in fact. So that's something. I'm also a big reader, and I encourage people to read. As I especially encourage our followers to read. To y'all out in the world here, don't be like every other person. There's so many people who haven't read a book since high school. You can do better than that. Please read. Thank you. That's Admin B's TED Talk.
We are the only political commentary outlet that has an OnlyFans. I just want to point that out for the people that are watching.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
don't
also
go
one
on
of
that.
those-
I don't post on that. But like I was going to say, what are you reading now? Since we're talking about books, I am interested.
Me?
Yeah, you.
So my husband has been trying to get me to read the Artemis Fowl book. So I have that on audiobook. I know it's a kid's book, but it's his favorite childhood book. And so I have
it's
that
still
one.
good.
Yeah, that he said it like upholds the test of time or anything. But and then the Wheel of I read fiction, nonfiction, and usually like a history or social commentary book at any given time. I'm a book rotator. I know people that's very controversial. People hate book rotators. But so Artemis Fowl is like the fantasy book, and then the Wheel of Time I just started. My
Robert
husband
Jordan.
picked it up
Yeah,
for me.
I know that one. I'm a big old nerd too. I go
A
to
Speck
Jordan
in the
Con
Sea,
every
which
A
spring.
fellow South Carolinian is what he is.
the history book I'm currently reading is A Speck in the Sea, and it's about one of the ships that lost power and was stranded in the sea, and it goes through the log journals of it. It's a true story, to my knowledge. My understanding of it is that it's a true story, and that's really been really good. And then the political one I'm reading right now is the tiny little commentary on tyranny.
Yeah, it's a good choice. I just finished Shades of Milk and Honey by Mary Robinette Kowal. It is essentially Jane Austen plus magic, and it was delightful. I loved it. She's written one of my favorite books of all time called The Calculating Stars, which is, I call it science fiction alternate history. It happened in 1952. A meteorite hit off the coast of Washington, D.C., basically killing all of the government. And she's a mathematician. Her husband's a physicist. She does the math and determines that the Earth is going to get too hot for human habitation, and we've got to get off Earth. So that happens in the first 15 pages of the book. I'm not telling you.
I'm
anything.
sold. You had me at meteorite hits Washington D.C.
Yeah, it's great. I love it, and it's one of my favorite books of all time. If we're going with nonfiction recommendations, I'm going to recommend Men Who Hate Women by Laura Bates, which is what I've been talking about.
Those were the books I was reading. I can't recommend them yet because I haven't finished them. So disclaimer, if they end up being bad, don't blame me.
Yeah.
Men Who Hate Women, though, you were saying? Sorry,
by Laura Bates. And it is, I'm not going to say it's the source of my my Manosphere series, but it's not the source. I learned a lot when I read that 6 or 7 months ago, and now I'm just sort of like adding my own commentary to it by writing stuff on the internet. So that's a record.
Hold it up.
It's excellent, and you were going to be very angry and sick while reading it. I'm very sorry.
I did just finish. If I neglect science fiction sometimes because it wasn't like a big thing for me growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Like I read a lot of fantasy fiction and history, but I neglect science fiction. But I did get really into John Scalzi or Scalzi, whichever one. John Scalzi or John Scalzi. I'll put respect on it.
John Scalzi.
John Scalzi, Red Shirt's hilarious. It got me into science fiction, and since then I've read quite a bit of science fiction. But that was only, I think, 3 years ago, and he opened up the door to science fiction for me.
Yeah, you might.
We're very off on politics.
I love John Scalzi. I haven't read Red Shirts, but he wrote another one where called Starter Villain. It has a cat on the front that I found hilarious, and it's basically somebody inherits a villain empire and becomes a super villain through inheritance. There's talking dolphins and talking cats. Great.
I have a question for you. Were you in the military?
I was not. No.
John Scalzi's Red Shirt is what I tell my family is the best description of the military, specifically life on a ship that I've ever hands down read. Because people think it's very serious, which of course, yes, it is very serious. It's a warship. But like day-to-day life, that is the best, most accurate description of how ridiculous it is.
Yeah.
To the point where it's like they talk about the bilge, everything like that. And they're like, how long does this take to fix? And it's like, how long do we have? And whatever the time is, they're like 5 minutes less than that. Whatever it is, you have an hour to fix something, it's going to take 55 minutes. You have 8 hours, it's going to take 7 hours and 55 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's the best representation.
I love it. I will. It's on my list. I own it on my Audible, but I haven't listened to it yet. I will say that one of my, I've had dinner with John Scalzi. I'm going to brag. I know a lot of authors because I go to Dragon Con every year, and I'm friends with a bunch of them. So,
well, next time you tell him I knew how to pronounce his name the whole time, and only fake news will say I didn't.
Okay, absolutely. I will. He played in a Dungeons and Dragons campaign Dungeons and Dragons one shot that they do at Dragon Con a couple of years ago. He was great. Really funny.
That's awesome. I'm very jealous of that.
Yeah. I haven't done it. Wrap it up.
I wasn't expecting that to work. I was just see what would happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I do need to wrap it up.
Okay.
I have a staff meeting on Discord that I'd like to try to get to.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you very much. I had a great time. Sorry to wax poetic about books. Thank you so much. And thank you for the questions.
No, hold on. Wait. We're not ever going to apologize for you taking your time to talk about all the issues that are important to you, but also B, books. Like, this is not a dumb section. Like, we're not the meathead section.
No,
books are 100% welcome. I just literally have to go to staff meeting. So.
All right.
Thank you for having me. It was fantastic.
It's been delightful. So
our
nice
guest, Marialana Kinter, who is a U.S. Navy veteran running for Congress in Florida District 7. We have, if you look on our socials, we have a massive list of live stream guests, and I'm about to add one more to that as soon as they confirm a specific date. So next week, Tuesday, Eljo, hold on to your panties. We've got Bernard Taylor. We've got Russell Cleveland, a U.S. Navy vet, similar to Marialana. We have a whole bunch. We got General Sean Harris. We got a fucking general who's coming here, and he's running in the same district that Margarine Trader Greed is now abandoning. We have a U.S. Navy commander. He is an Airedale. I've been told that is the correct term, and not to confuse them with submariners. They get really, really angry. Commander Phil Ayer, who is also part of the Removal Coalition. And there's some Marines. There's some other people. There's some Dropkick Murphys up on the schedule. So just saying. Marialana, thank you so much for joining us. I really, really appreciate your time. And we definitely want to have you back to talk about books and whatever else, really, honestly. And I'll make sure that Vicky's on here so you guys can talk books. Okay. I can just monitor the chat.
Awesome. Well, have a great night, and I hope your staff meeting goes well.
All right, bye, guys.
Thank you. That's our time. 2 claps and a Rick. Woo!